Welcome along. Our roundup of week 31 begins at the Stade Velodrome, where André-Pierre Gignac towered above Marquinhos to give Marseille the lead in Sunday's big clash with Paris Saint-Germain. Well, PSG then lost David Luiz to injury, but they equalised through Blaise Matuidi. A superb curling strike from the French international on his weaker right foot to make it one apiece. But Marseille were back in front by half-time. Alexis Romeo feeding Gignac, who slotted home coolly for 2-1. At his 18th of this Ligue 1 season. But PSG turned the game on its head in 2 second-half minutes. First, Marquinhos slammed in from close range, and just 131 seconds later, Paris were in front. Javier Pastore's cross for Zlatan Ibrahimovic turned into his own net by Jeremy Morel. Paris also losing Thiago Motta to injury, but winning 3-2 to reclaim top spot. Now, Lyon remained a point behind PSG in second place after beating Guingamp on the road. Nabil FEKIR put Hubert Fournier's side ahead in the 26th minute, with a little help, it must be said, from keeper Jonas Lössl. Well, that a 12th goal of the season for FEKIR, and Lössl won't be in a hurry to see that one again. Alexandre LACAZETTE swept home a penalty to make it 2-0 before half-time. Goal number 24 for Ligue 1's leading goal scorer. Guingamp had Christophe Kerbrat sent off on 45 minutes, and Lyon made their extra man count. Clinton and G sweeping in a third on the hour mark. Well, there was time for Guingamp to grab a consolation goal. A clever little flick from Mustafa Diallo for Claudio Beauvue, who's also up to 12 goals, but it was too little, too late. 3-1 to Lyon. Monaco and Saint-Etienne missed the chance to close the gap on the leaders on Friday as they played out a 1-1 draw at the Stade Louis II. Mevlut put Les Verts ahead after a fine ball in from Franck Tabanou. But Anthony Martial came off the bench and brought Monaco level just 107 seconds later. A fine ball in from Levin Kazawa and a superb volleyed finish from Martial, his 5th goal in 4 games. Montpellier remain in the hunt for Europe after coming from behind to beat Bastia. Giovanni Sio was offside as he put the Corsicans at 1-0 up at La Mosson 10 minutes before half-time. Well, Lucas Barrios equalised from the penalty spot after Brian Dabo was brought down by Floyd Ayite. And referee Alexandre Castro even awarded Montpellier a second penalty just 2 minutes later, dispatched this time by Anthony Mounier. However, Bastia only had themselves to blame for the hosts' 3rd goal. Goalkeeper Alphonse Areola making a hash of this clearance, and Morgan Sanson with a cool finish to wrap up a 3-1 win. Metz finally put an end to their incredible 18-match winless streak at home to Toulouse. It was the visitors who went ahead after a well-worked counter-attack. Alexander Pesic picking out Wissam Ben Yedder at the far post. Metz deservedly drew level 3 minutes later. Yeni Mbakoto's shot was blocked, but Madiba Maiga was on hand to sweep home. Well, Maiga then completed his 3rd brace of the season before half-time after a clever ball through from Gaetan Busman. A superb finish from the Malian. And he even grabbed his very first Ligue 1 hat-trick on 52 minutes after being set up this time by Florent Malouda. Well, there was time for Toulouse to pull one back through Tango Doumbia, but it was little more than a consolation as it finished 3-2 to Metz. That's their first win in Ligue 1 since way back on November the 1st. It wasn't until the last 10 minutes that the game between Bordeaux and Lens burst into life at Chabannes-Delmas, the Brazilian Mariano putting the hosts ahead on 80 minutes. But bottom side Lens thought they'd rescued a point when Pablo Chavaria made the most of some slack defending from Cedric Yambere. One apiece in the 86th minute. However, Nicolas Maurice-Belay scampered through to steal all 3 points for Bordeaux in injury time. 2-1, the final score. Sebastian Corchia put Lille 1-0 up at home to Reims with his very first goal of this Ligue 1 season, though his free kick did take a wicked deflection off Prince Oniyange in the 18th minute. Lille's second also coming from a free kick, the excellent Sofiane Boufal whipping this one in, and Divock Origi stabbing home at the far post. Well, Reims pulled one back 5 minutes later, and a fine goal it was too, Nicolas de Préville giving Vincent Enyama no chance with that free kick. But Lille restored their 2-goal advantage in the 72nd minute as Origi pulled across for Nolan Roux. A lovely diving header. It finished 3-1. Rennes claimed local bragging rights in their Brittany derby with Lorient as they eased a victory at Le Moustoir. Edson Mexer nodded in a Paul Georges Ntep corner to make it 1-0 on 16 minutes. And the visitors' second came from a corner as well. Pedro Henrique swinging this one across for Sylvain Almont, his very first goal for Rennes. And 5 minutes after half-time, the game was effectively over as a contest as Ntep came storming down the left flank and pulled back for his favourite partner in crime, Abdoulaye Doucouré. 3-0 it finished. Daniel Vass crossed in for Danny Nunca to give Evian the lead at Nice with his first Ligue 1 goal. But the home side equalised on the stroke of half-time after a rapid counter-attack. Saïd Benrabah feeding Alexis Bassetti, who was offside, but the flag stayed down, and that was 1-1. Well, Nice then went ahead as Bassetti saw this shot blocked, but was able to set up Valentin Esseric for 2-1. Nevertheless, Evian managed to rescue a point. Adrien Thomasson's effort from just outside the area, going in off Kevin Gomez for an own goal. 2-2 at the Allianz Riviera. Well, finally, Nantes used some good old-fashioned long throw tactics to go 1-0 up at home to Caen. Alejandro Bedoya firing in from close range. Caen equalised from the penalty spot with 10 minutes remaining. Emiliano Sala making absolutely no mistake. And Caen even stole 3 vital points at the death as Thomas Lemar's free kick eluded everybody and ended up in the back of the net. His first Ligue 1 goal, sealing a 2-1 win. All the results from week 31 then, with a season high of 37 goals scored. Big wins for PSG and Lyon at the top, 3 vital points for Caen at Nantes, and Metz finally back to winning ways. Just a point between PSG and Lyon at the top then, with Marseille now 5 points off the pace. Monaco could draw level on 57 points if they win their game in hand against Montpellier on Tuesday. Metz and Lens swap places at the bottom, though they're still a long way from safety. There are now just 3 points separating Toulouse in 18th place and Reims in 16th. Now, a rather unusual programme next week due to Saturday's League Cup final between Paris and Bastia. Just 1 game on Friday, Caen Monaco, and 7 on Sunday, finishing with Bordeaux Marseille.